Hi everyone, I'm Ruth Nordin,
And I'm Syas Nitsick.
and today we are talking about beta readers and how to find a good one. A beta reader is a person who reads your book before it's published. This is not the person who edits your book. The person who edits your book is the editor, they're the ones that polish it up. This one is someone who just kind of looks at the overall content and feel for the story.
And as a reader, this is your beta
Right.
reader is a reader, and they don't have any. They're not editors, like she said. So they're not going to look for the. Well, they might pick out maybe something that they see for spelling, but they're not looking for those kind of things like that, spelling,
Right.
grammar, those kind of things. They're
They
looking for
shouldn't they,
just the overall story, like you said, Ruth.
they shouldn't be looking over like typos, grammatical issues. That's not really their job. That's the job of an editor.
Right.
So someone was asking, like, what makes a good beta reader? And I would say one of the first thing that comes to my mind is someone who actually makes the deadline when you give them a deadline, but also give them a deadline that's reasonable in the time period. Don't just like, oh, I need this tomorrow. You don't want to do that.
Right. Give them enough time out because they have lives too.
Right.
And they need to get back, and it's also important for them to get the deadline in because you have a deadline to make with submitting it or getting your book out or to the publisher or whatever you need to do. You have a deadline to meet too. So if they don't get back with you in time, it puts you behind.
Right. So when you're looking at your schedule, try to time out enough from your first draft, the time that's done, to when the beta reader usually reads the first draft. And because then you'll take the beta reader's suggestions and you'll give it to the editor after that. And see, that's the person that then polishes up your
Right.
book.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would say like another good one might be someone who's familiar with the genre you're writing in and who actually likes it. Because if you don't find that person that really likes it, they're not going to really be in tune. Like, why would a science fiction reader want to read a romance? How can they really get a feel for your target audience and what your audience wants?
That's true. That's true.
So, I would also say that someone who might know the time period or the location or something about some element. You have a friend.
I have a beta reader that is very good at historical because she lived it. She lived without plumbing. She lived without.
Right.
She lived on a farm, which she can help me with farm animals. Like I don't know if you know this, but I learned that even if the chickens aren't in a coop, they'll go up in a tree. So I mean, things like that are kind of yeah, things that you really don't know. And she also lived without electricity, so she also has that background. So she kind of knows how the lanterns worked and things like that. So there's various. If you're writing historical romance
like she does,
like I do
westerns.
and things like that, you really need someone like that really can give you the really can look over those things and know when you're right or wrong on things.
Right, and like if you write about horses, have someone that's familiar with horses. I mean, just anything. And also, you want a beta reader, and this is really important. The beta reader has to be honest and tell you really what they think. And I think this is one of the crucial things because you also need to know the bad. We always want to hear good, and the beta reader should point out what's good. But I think also if something is bad, if something just doesn't quite work, that they let you know. And but they also need to be nice about it. And you want to give an example of like what you don't want your beta reader to be like.
You just want someone that's honest with you, but they say this is I see this here, this doesn't jive or something like that. You don't say you made a this is bad here. I mean you use a good tone.
Right.
You use a nice tone. But we expect, since it's a beta reader, we expect to get feedback. We expect to don't worry about hurting the feelings of us either. Don't be so timid that you that
Right.
they
It can sting, but it's really all in delivery.
right. Yeah.
I mean, no one likes to hear that something in their story didn't really work, but I think if someone's like, this is garbage. You don't want someone like that.
Right.
Well, you write like a fourth grader.
Right, exactly.
I had someone tell me that one time.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't want stuff like that.
you don't want things like that, but you also want them to feel free. And you've got to, when you give it to them, tell them also, just give them some heads up on maybe particular things that you're looking for them to watch for. Not that they won't look for other things, but like if you're worried about that, does this character look over here, does it seem to fit over here in a different chapter, or does that carry
Consistency. They can look at consistency. They're
and
pretty
things
good at
like that, you know, or maybe the eye colors were gray and now they're blue, and point those things out to us and that kind of thing, so that their consistency on the descriptions and things like that, that the character stays true to itself.
You know, and
or
another
herself.
another broad thing you might ask, if you were writing something with suspense, is ask the reader, you know, did you really kind of feel
Right, exactly.
kind of terrified?
Well,
at
even
some
in the
point?
romance, you can do that too.
Did you believe the romance?
Did you believe that? Did you really fall in love with the character? I mean, those kind of things as a beta reader can really help.
Right,
And
the likability of your hero, and also you want the reader to hate your bad guy. So you know, did that kind of? I think the overall broad
right,
stuff is
overall,
really good for that.
overall, the broad, the whole is what
Right.
you're looking for.
And then, like, how does someone like maybe starting out go about finding one? Because that can be tricky when you're just starting out and you don't really know anybody yet. And I guess you would start out with people you already know.
That's what I started out with, is I have people that I already know personally.
Because you have to trust them not to
Right.
take your book and then publish it somewhere, or who knows? Because you know, I think it happened to Stephanie Meyer. Someone was beta reading, and I don't know if I don't know like for sure if this is the story, but someone took it and then they put it up in a PDF or something to share. Now I don't know if that really happened, but something like that could happen
If you don't know
if you
them,
don't trust
if you
someone.
don't trust them, and if you build a relationship online, get to know that person online. Don't be just taking the first person that comes to you and say, well, I'll read it. You know, if they've been following you for a while and things like that, and you've gotten to kind of know them online, you can get a sense for them after a while. You know,
I think so.
You know, you really can. But you got to have someone you trust. It's very, very important to have someone you trust and that will do then what do what you also want, you're looking for too.
So if you're starting out, let's say you have a good friend or a relative. Now, if the person can be honest with you, that's what you really want. You don't want someone to just tell you, "Oh, it's great." Well, that doesn't help you. So when you're starting out, that's kind of what you're going at. But then the editor's job is really to kind of
right, and
go
then
after it
and
anyway.
also I think to stay away if you can, unless you've got a certain kind of relative that can be honest with you. Stay away from relatives because they really will not tell you the truth.
Well, some will. I mean, my husband is probably one of my harshest critics.
Right.
He'll laugh and he'll be like, "This is stupid,"
Right.
and then he'll tell me why. But I don't really use him anymore for beta readers because these days, well, when you go on Facebook, you meet people in Google Plus and discussion boards, and there's tons of places you can meet people online. Well, after you been talking to someone for like a year or two online, and you kind of get to know them and establish enough of a rapport that you feel comfortable with them, they're comfortable with you, and then sometimes they offer to beta read.
Right, exactly, and and that is important. You want someone that if you can trust the relative, and that they will give you honesty.
Relative or friend
is
honest.
A friend or husband or whatever, then you're fine. But there's some that will not tell you.
Right.
They're
she
so
does
afraid
not like
of
the idea of a relative. No way.
Well, no, I think you can if they'll give you good input. Some of them will not want to hurt the person.
I know some people won't, but yeah, I think social media. We only think, well, social media is just for like promoting our books. No, it's not. It's for establishing relationships, meeting people, getting to know people. I mean, you'd be surprised, and other writers can beta read too. It's just you'd be surprised at who you come across when you're just hanging out and having a good time.
That's right,
But that's the key. Have a good time. Be personable. Just kind of sit back and enjoy. Don't worry so much about buy my book, because you never know. Someone that you're talking to on Facebook may be the greatest beta reader.
Exactly.
But they may not pay attention if you only post buy my book.
Right, exactly.
You just don't know. And you could return something and they start talking about like to finish up. Like also be thankful to your beta reader. Respect their time. Maybe offer them something. I like to offer a signed paperback for it, and you like to give.
I do some of that, but I also do maybe some special gifts like, I've even given like the long stem cookie, long stem in a box and things like that for them. Appreciate them reading just something special, a special gift, or maybe another book that I think they might like, and things like that. So just give them something that they really know that you appreciate them.
So I think that's it, right?
That's it.
That's all we have on beta readers, and we'll put this up in a blog post and we can comment more from there.
That's right. Thank you.